kids. Today we're going to talk about how to take two-column notes. Two-column notes is a strategy that you use when you're reading a nonfiction text. It might be an article or it might be a book. It's a strategy that you use when you're trying to organize information so that you can use it later, maybe because you need to take a test on the information or because you're going to do a research project, for example, a research paper like you're going to do this year. So today, the article that we're going to focus on is this one. It's called Stolen Childhoods. It's a really sad article. It's about child labor in India. It's about kids who have to work from as young an age as 2 or 3 and don't get paid for their work. Sad article, but a really important one nevertheless. Okay, the first thing you're going to do when you take a look at a new nonfiction text is do a preview. And when you do a preview, what you do is you look at all the text features and you get your brain ready to read. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like. Okay, so this article is called Stolen Childhoods, and the bold text says, "For millions of children around the world, life is nothing but work. Read about the epidemic of child labor and the efforts to stop it." Okay, the first subheading says a dangerous world. Look at this picture of this little girl. She looks so young. She must be one of the workers. It's all work, no play. This young girl works with heavy stones in a brick factory in India. Worldwide, there are more than 246 million child laborers. That is about the same number of people who live in the U.S. Wow, that is amazing. The next subheading says a complex problem. Gosh, and if I think about that, I bet that there's a lot more to this than I can even begin to imagine right now. I bet I'm going to find out this is a really deep problem. Oh, thank heavens. This subheading says finding solutions. I'm all about solutions, so hopefully here there'll be some information on things I can do in the world to make the world a better place. And this must have to do with those solutions. It says, "We want education." I bet, since it's in quotes, I bet this is going to be the voice of the child workers. Okay, so now I've gone through the entire article and I previewed it looking at text features. My brain is really ready to read. I completely have a picture, a really good rounded picture about what I'm going to learn about. Okay, now my brain's ready. What I'm going to do is start taking my notes. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is cite my source. And that means I'm going to write down the title of the article. Well, actually, before that, I think I'll put my name. Now I'm going to write the title of the article, Stolen Childhoods. Okay, and then I'm going to find the author and write the author's name by Mary Harvey. And then because, as we've talked about before, it's really important to give credit and tell folks who might be reading a report you write where you got your information. I'm going to go ahead and look at the bottom of my sheet and make sure I write down where this information came from. Scholastic Scope and the date that it was published. February 9th, 2004. Okay, so now I have all the information I need about what this source is and where I got the information that I'm going to take in my notes. The next thing I'm going to do is draw a nice dark line all the way across my paper so that I can really see this is the article and everything below that is going to be the notes that I take from it. In two-column notes, the way you set it up is you look at the red line that's already on your paper, you go about an inch past that to the right, and you draw a nice dark line all the way down. Now you've divided your paper into two columns, one thin one and one thick one. The thin side is always going to have the topic for your notes. The thick side is always going to have the actual notes. So when I look at my article, the first thing I'm going to do before I even write anything in my notes is go through and highlight all of the sections. And I know what a section is because it has a subheading. Okay, so this part doesn't have a subheading, but this says a dangerous world. Complex problem. finding solutions, and we want education. Now I know what all of my topics for my notes are going to be. The problem is this first section doesn't have a subheading. So what I'm going to write in my notes is introduction. So now I'm going to carefully read this section and highlight the important information. It's 7 a.m. on Saturday. 12-year-old Benta Adara is ready to begin her day. It will not be a school day or a day of play. Benta, who lives in Kenya, will spend 10 grueling hours picking coffee berries off bushes under a scorching sun. For her long hours of labor, she will earn less than $1. Wow. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and highlight what I think is really important. I think it's important that she's a 12-year-old. Her name is important. She's a specific example. And then I'm going to highlight where she is in Kenya and that she's going to spend 10 grueling or really hard hours picking coffee berries off bushes. And I'm also going to highlight that she will only earn, less than $1. Now I took that paragraph and I read it and I thought about it, and then I highlighted the really important information. I didn't have what I call highlight-itis. Not everything's highlighted, just the really important information. Now I'm going to take that one paragraph and I'm going to move this information that's in the author's words into my own words in my notes. So let's see here. It says, it's 7 a.m., 12-year-old Benita Adara. Okay, I'm going to bullet my notes. You notice I'm leaving the first line blank. That's because what brain research tells us is that it's better for the brain if there's lots of white space in notes. That helps us remember what we're reading, what we're learning, and it also helps us when we look back at our notes later. Okay, so I'm going to write her name, Benta Adara, 12 years old. Okay, I'm going to do another bullet. Actually, I think I'm going to put right up here, from Kenya. Okay, and then I'm going to put 10. Okay, the word says grueling here. That's a difficult word for me, so I'm just going to put hard. 10 hard hours per day picking coffee berries. Okay, that's one big idea. The last big idea in that paragraph is how much she makes. Earn less than $1 per day. Now what I really want you to notice here is I took this whole paragraph and I just put it into these really short notes. And one thing you'll notice if you look carefully at my notes or listen to them is that I used what I like to call caveman language. I didn't put in every single word. So for one thing, if I put in every single word, that would be copying, it'd be plagiarizing, which of course is not okay. For another thing, it would take me too long. What would be the point of taking notes if you're going to write down every word? So this last bullet, for example, here it says in the article, for her long hours of labor, she will earn less than $1. I put that in caveman language and it says earns less than $1 day. You see how short that is? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the next paragraph. We pick every day, says Benta, who's exposed to dangerous pesticides. Ooh, that's important. Your hands feel very painful. The chemicals that are applied also burn your face. It's as if hot water had been poured in your face and hands. Wow. Chemicals burn your face. Okay. Now I'm going to just add one more bullet for that paragraph. Exposed to dangerous chemicals. Very painful. Okay, now I've finished taking notes for this first section. I'm to the next section. So I'm going to leave a few extra lines and draw another dark line all the way across my paper. My second section I'm going to label a dangerous world. And then I'm going to go ahead and read and highlight and take notes. Alright, I just finished reading the article, highlighting the important points, and taking my notes. Boy, did I learn a lot. This is what my finished article looks like. Again, keep in mind that the whole page doesn't look pink because I only highlighted the really important ideas, words, and phrases. I didn't highlight everything. And this is what my finished notes look like. You see how much white space I left? Again, that helps the brain remember. The last thing I want to show you before we stop our lesson on taking 2-column notes is that this last section called Finding Solutions, together with the We Want Education section, does give us some hope. So what it tells us here is that there are lots of things that we can do to stop child labor. The number one thing we can do is know that there's child labor in the world, be informed about it, and share that information with other people. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson on 2-column notes. You'll be taking your own soon. Thanks for watching.